Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation news fans. Tayshia Adams, the most recent bachelorette and host of Katie Thurston's season, shared her biggest cheerleader has always been her mom. In an interview, she said Rosaria Adams was always there. Tayshia said she doesn't know how her mother had a job and took care of 4 kids. If they were doing something, be it a sport or school event, she would be there. Tayshia said, "Mom has always been there for us and a very present, hands-on mom. My mom did it all." Tayshia Adams isn't with her mom at the moment. Tayshia Adams and Rosario did the interview in different states via Zoom. According to E! News, Rosario said Tayshia was a good girl as the oldest of her children. She said Tayshia went to an all-girl high school and did great. She'd been close to home when she went to college, but got a wild urge to join Colton Underwood's season of The Bachelor. Her mother also said, "I just love my daughter so much. We did actually see her fall in love. Adams enjoyed watching her journey." Tayshia said, "I'm just grateful for my mom's grace," she explained. "No matter what, she's always tried to do her absolute best. And if she couldn't provide what she wanted to provide, she made the best out of every situation. Mama wants some babies sooner rather than later." Tayshia Adams got the "when are you going to have kids" talk from her mother quickly. Her mom said she wanted her to have 5 kids. Rosario said, "She loves kids. I think Tayshia would be such an amazing mom." Bachelor Nation does love its babies, but she probably wants the honeymoon to get going before the baby making does. Tayshia said she would have a lot of family traditions to uphold. She is happy her mom is able to guide her through everything, and did so while she looked for love in Bachelor Nation. The reality star relied on her faith. Throughout the process, there was one thing Tayshia could count on. Tayshia said her mom has always encouraged her to lean on her faith. She said that was something she is bringing into her relationship. She said religion was something my mom has always made us involved in. Whether it's going to church or going to private school, if we can, in order to have that religious education a priority, it really has made a difference in all of our lives as kids. She ended the interview by saying she is grateful for her mom's heart. The bond the two share had a lot of fans shedding tears at how sweet they are. Did their interview have you wiping your eyes because of the bond? Comment with your thoughts down below. Watch Tayshia's hosting debut on June 7 when Season 17 of The Bachelorette premieres. There's something special about mother-daughter relationships, but when your daughter is Tayshia Adams, America's sweetheart, former Bachelorette, fashion icon, and podcast queen, emotions don't just run high, they flood. Literally. It all began on a seemingly ordinary Sunday afternoon in Newport Beach. Tayshia had planned a cozy, no press, no cameras brunch with her mother, Rosario. But of course, nothing about Tayshia's life is ever truly private anymore. The restaurant was tucked away in a quiet marina, filled with seashells, lavender tones, and the scent of fresh pastries. As soon as Rosario walked in, heads turned. Not just because of the camera phones trying to sneak a shot of Tayshia, who was in a chic baby blue sundress and oversized sunglasses, but because of the presence Rosario commanded. Poised, graceful, with eyes that mirrored Tayshia's fierce warmth. "Hi, Maja," Rosario whispered, enveloping her daughter in a hug that felt like sunshine on a rainy day. And just like that, the tears started. Not from Rosario, not even from Tayshia, but from the woman at the table next to them. A random stranger who, apparently, had just watched Tayshia's most tear-jerking breakup on The Bachelorette the night before. She saw the two embrace and burst into tears. "I'm sorry," the stranger said between sniffles. "You remind me of my mom, and that final, when you said goodbye to Brendan." Tayshia gave her that signature disarming smile. "Oh, sweetie," she said, reaching for the woman's hand. "We all cry. That's how we heal." Little did she know, that moment was just the beginning of what would soon become a week of emotion. One that would reveal old wounds, healed hearts, and, yes, a whole lot of Waterworks. Chapter 2. the letter hidden in the closet. After brunch, Tayshia and Rosario went back to Tayshia's place, a beautifully minimalist coastal condo with floor-to-ceiling windows and framed memories lining the walls. Old photos from her bachelor days, fashion shoots, candid selfies with Zach Clark. Yes, those were still up, and some even older. A 4-year-old Tayshia in her mom's lap, covered in chocolate cake. "I've been cleaning out your old closet," Rosario said, placing her mimosa down, "and I found something." She pulled out a small white envelope. The handwriting was unmistakable. It was Tayshia's, from high school. "You wrote this after your first real heartbreak," Rosario said gently, her voice lowering. Tayshia blinked, confused. "I did." Her mother nodded. "You told me not to open it. Said it was just for the future you, so I didn't." Tayshia sat, legs crossed, the envelope now trembling in her hand. The paper felt heavier than it should have. She opened it. "Dear me, if you're reading this, you're probably crying again. And that's okay. You cry when you're scared. You cry when you feel like you're not enough, but you are, even when he leaves, even when you feel invisible. One day, someone will see all of you, but even if they don't, you'll have mom. And that's enough." Tayshia's fingers clenched the paper. Tears spilled before she could even process it. Rosario reached out, holding her daughter's hand. "I always knew you'd find your way," she said softly. And just like that, Tayshia Adams and her mother set off another emotional earthquake. Chapter 3. Going Back. Later that week, Tayshia got a call from a producer friend at Good Morning America. They wanted her for a new mental health segment, highlighting reality stars and how they navigated healing after heartbreak. It would be filmed at her old high school in Orange County. "You have to take mom," her best friend Becca Kufrin insisted over FaceTime. "You know she's part of your whole healing journey. She's like the fairy godmother of tears." Tayshia laughed, dabbing concealer under her eyes. "She's gonna make everyone cry on live TV, you watch." But it wasn't just Rosario's warmth, it was her honesty, her ability to say the hardest things with grace. As Tayshia stood in front of her old locker during the GMA shoot, she flashed back to being 15, crying in that very hallway after being dumped via post-it note. Rosario had been waiting in the car, and when Tayshia burst in, sobbing, her mom didn't say a word. She just drove them to the beach, let the waves roar, and said, "Let it out, Myja. Don't hold pain like a secret." That moment re-aired during the GMA piece. Twitter exploded. #WaterworksBeTayshia started trending. Fans shared their own mom stories, old letters, and tear-stained journals. One woman wrote, "I just called my mom for the first time in 5 years because of Tayshia. Thank you." Chapter 4. The Wedding That Wasn't. What most people didn't know was that Tayshia was this close to being engaged again, not on TV, but in real life. Quietly, privately. She had dated someone for 8 months post-Bachelor, someone outside the limelight. A chef, kind, emotionally available. But on the night he planned to propose, Tayshia walked in on him texting his ex. It wasn't explicit. It wasn't betrayal. But it was enough. Tayshia walked out, heels echoing in the hallway, mascara threatening to ruin her favorite blush. She didn't tell anyone for weeks, not even Rosario. Until she did. They were in the kitchen, chopping onions, of all things. "I think I was supposed to marry myself first," Tayshia said suddenly. Rosario stopped mid-chop. "What?" "I keep trying to find something, someone. And maybe I just need to be enough for myself, like I wrote in that letter." Rosario smiled. "You've always been enough, Myja. The world just caught up." They both laughed, and cried, and laughed again. Because even chopping onions couldn't compete with their ability to set off the waterworks. Chapter 5. The Show Must Go On. Tayshia launched a new podcast 2 weeks later, Tearjerkers with Tayshia, a hybrid of emotional storytelling, guest stars, and live calls. The pilot episode featured Rosario as the first guest. They didn't plan anything. "Just talk like we always do," Tayshia said, setting up her mic. And they did. They talked about breakups, about Rosario's own mother who died too soon, about the pressure of being strong when you want to collapse. By the 20-minute mark, Rosario was crying. So was Tayshia. So were listeners around the world. Spotify sent flowers. The episode went viral. The New York Times called it raw, unfiltered emotion in a time where vulnerability is the new strength. Chapter 6: The Healing Tour. 6 months later, Tayshia and Rosario embarked on what fans began calling the Waterworks Tour, a series of intimate live shows in 10 cities where mothers and daughters could come together, talk, cry, and heal. In Dallas, a daughter reunited with her estranged mother after 7 years. In Miami, a woman shared how she watched Tayshia on The Bachelor while holding her dying mother's hand in the hospital, and how seeing Tayshia's relationship with Rosario gave her peace. In Seattle, Rosario surprised Tayshia with a handwritten poem on stage. It ended with, "You cried in my arms, I held your soul. Now you hold others, that's your role. But never forget where you come from the tears, the storms, the love of a mom." Tayshia cried, the crowd stood, and Rosario. She simply handed her daughter a tissue, smiled, and said, "Still my baby." Chapter 7: A New Chapter. It wasn't that Tayshia Adams had built her brand on tears. It was that she gave people permission to feel. In an influencer world of filters and perfection, she embraced the mess, the heartbreak, the loss, the joy, the uncertainty. By the time she turned 35, she had become not just a TV personality, but a cultural figure in emotional advocacy. Her memoir, Let It Out, Maija, debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The dedication: "To my mother, the original tearjerker." Chapter 8: The Floodgate. The final event of the Waterworks tour took place in Los Angeles, a massive sold-out theater. Lights dimmed. A video montage played. Tayshia through the years, her seasons of heartbreak, her triumphs, and always, Rosario. The final shot: Tayshia hugging Rosario under an umbrella, rain pouring down, both smiling through the storm. When they walked on stage hand in hand, the crowd was already in tears. Tayshia looked out, voice steady. "We live in a world that tells us to toughen up, to get over it. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is cry. And the most healing thing you can do is let someone cry with you." Rosario added, "And if that someone is your mom, well, lucky you." The crowd stood, applause thundered, and the floodgates opened one last time. Epilogue: Tears That Heal. Years later, when Tayshia had kids of her own, she found her daughter sobbing over a broken friendship. She sat down, offered tissues, and said, "Let it out, Maija. Don't hold pain like a secret." Her daughter smiled through the tears. "Did Grandma say that to you?" Tayshia nodded. "Every time." And in that moment, Tayshia understood. The tears, the vulnerability, the waterworks, they weren't a weakness. They were an inheritance, a gift passed down from mother to daughter. A legacy, a love story told through every drop.